Hi everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of the Counselor HQ podcast. I am so glad you're here. My name is Nobel Rizzio. I'm a licensed counselor, a former school counselor, and the creator of Counselor HQ. Today's episode is really about setting the foundation for this podcast, for the community, and for the bigger why behind all of it. So if you're listening while driving between sessions, walking school hallways, finishing paperwork late at night, or just trying to take a breath, this episode is for you. I wanted to start by saying this clearly. This podcast exists because counselors need support too. We spend our days holding space for others. We sit with grief, trauma, anxiety, overwhelm, and uncertainty. We problem solve, regulate, de-escalate, advocate, document, and somehow still try to show up as grounded humans. And yet so often, counselors are expected to just handle it, to be resilient, to self-care harder, to remember why you got into the field. But what doesn't get talked about enough is how isolating this work can be. Whether you're in private practice, a school, an agency, a hospital, or still in grad school, it can feel like you're carrying the weight of the work quietly and alone. This podcast is here to say you are not alone, and you don't have to figure this out by yourself. The Counselor HQ podcast is a space for real conversations about the counseling profession, not just theory, but the lived experience of doing this work. We're going to talk about things like burnout and compassion fatigue, boundaries, and how hard they actually are to maintain, self-worth in helping professions, the emotional residue that follows us home, navigating systems that don't always support counselors, and how to stay in this field without losing yourself. We'll also talk about practical tools, including tech and systems that can make your job easier, because support isn't just emotional, it's logistical too. And yes, there will be humor, because counselor humor is honestly one of our greatest coping skills. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being human in a profession that often asks us to be superhuman. So who is this podcast for? This podcast is for counselors and therapists. It's for school counselors. It's for social workers and mental health professionals. It's for counseling students and interns. Anyone who finds themselves in a helping role and wants to feel less alone. If you've ever thought, am I the only one who feels this way? Or why didn't anyone prepare me for this part of the job? Or I love this work, but I'm exhausted. You are in the right place. I wanted to take a moment to share a little bit about me, because transparency matters here. Like many of you, I entered this field because I genuinely wanted to help people. I believed in the work, and I still do. But over time, I started noticing how much counselors are expected to give emotionally, mentally, relationally, often without adequate support, resources, or acknowledgement. I've worked in school counseling, and I've seen firsthand how stretched thin counselors can be. I've seen incredible professionals question themselves, burn out quietly, or feel like they're not doing enough in systems that are deeply under-resourced. And honestly, I felt that myself. I've felt the pressure to be everything to everyone, the guilt of not being able to fix systemic issues, the exhaustion that creeps in when your work matters deeply, but the support doesn't match the demand. That is where Counselor HQ was born. I didn't start Counselor HQ because I had everything figured out. I started it because I saw a gap in community, a gap in practical support, a gap in spaces that center counselors, not just clients, students, or systems. Counselor HQ was created to be a place where counselors could feel understood, access tools that actually help, connect with others who get it, and build sustainable careers in this field. It's about reminding counselors that their well-being matters, not as an afterthought, but as a foundation. This podcast is an extension of that mission. So what should you expect going forward? In future episodes, you'll hear solo episodes like this one where I just share information with you. We're going to have some guest conversations with counselors and other mental health professionals. We're going to have discussions about boundaries, burnout, self-worth, and resilience. We're going to have practical episodes on tech, tools, and navigating the profession. We're going to have honest reflections on what it means to stay in this work long term. So some episodes will feel validating. Some episodes might feel challenging. Some might feel like a deep exhale. All of them are meant to support you, not fix you. So here's my invitation to you. I want to leave you with this. You are not weak for feeling tired. You are not failing because this work is hard. You are not alone even when it feels that way. My hope is that this podcast becomes a small, steady source of support in your week. Something that reminds you why you do this work without romanticizing the cost. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to subscribe or share it with a colleague or send it to someone else who might need to hear it. If you want to learn more about the community, resources, and courses connected to this podcast, you can visit counselorhq.net. That's COUNSELORHQ.net, N-E-T. So I want to thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the work that you do. And thank you for being part of this growing Counselor HQ community. I will see you in the next episode.